Orgless and Hungry look like they're not quite together yet. If I'm Snakes, I'm starting to worry a little bit here, because if they're putting in a good show now, you're thinking, God, how much better were they last week? How much better could they be this week? Might play on the nerves a little bit as we head into our final game, but let's focus on the present. Volskaya Industries, our third map of the series. It's going to be Assault Archetype, and Orgless and Hungry up first on the defense.
Have you ever just stood on this map and looked around and just seen all the robots walking in the distance?
I want one.
It's one of those things you don't really appreciate too much because you're so focused on the map, but looking around, I'm like, there's so much cool stuff going on in the background here.
I want one. Simple as.
You want a big robot?
I want a giant robot.
Which country would you invade first?
Look, it's not about invading people. It's just as someone who's barely 5'6" to have that height advantage over literally everyone is a dream come true.
So, heard you calling me short, man.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Heard you calling me short. Now my little finger is bigger than you.
How about that? Well, the standard stuff coming out here for what we normally see on Volskaya. Snipers, always the name of the game on this first point. We see it all the time in Overwatch League. It's a done thing in Contenders as well. It seems to be the go-to for most teams, and no big surprise because snipers are so prevalent right now.
Hanzo, is he a sniper when you think about it? He's just using a bow and arrow.
The guy who dings me in the head solo queue, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from, would argue, yes, he is a sniper.
Well, they'd argue about anything, wouldn't they? Back onto the game. It's already lining up the sights. You can see Orgless and Hungry, they've taken control of that bunker area, so no Giganti strats to be able to be played today, unfortunately, as Danny gets the first touch of the point, and Math going aggressive. He's closing down the range gap you'd expect from that sniper rifle as he pings one across the map. Kevster going to be the one to find the target on the Ben Best. Math finally finds what he was looking for, and it is Kevster in a grave. Denny are going to bring him back, going to return that gift back to the store as Casper finally comes around to pay one to Math himself.
Yes, Young and Beautiful almost a little bit hesitant in their staging there. They didn't want to try and force Latex away from the high ground to almost initiate a pre-dive in a way. Found themselves in a situation where the picks were kind of being traded back and forth. Math was being very aggressive in the backline while the rest of his team were playing very much so behind near this truck actually on the left-hand side here. So, I don't know, maybe a bit more committal from these guys onto a key target would be good. Need to see Ben Best as the main tank bringing out these big calls and going for those key targets right now.
It's nice to know that Young and Beautiful have a fire assembly point outside of the point. They know where they're going to meet up if everything goes wrong. Reconvened, ready to try it all over again. Dragon Strike available for Casper. He's got eyes on. He knows where Matt is. He's pinging a few arrows preemptively. Self-destruct coming around the point. No one to be found.
Run it into the wall.
Danny, that's unfortunate placement, brother. You need to get a little bit better. Maybe go watch some RCK VODs. Kevster, he doesn't need to watch any VODs. He seems to be a master of Widowmaker, taking out Ben Best and Dids and sending Young and Beautiful back outside the point.
It's really confusing because Young and Beautiful are playing super hesitant. You're seeing them go for the setup where they stick Dids on one side to get the angles, they send the hands up the other side, send the tanks with the supports through the middle to try and get a pick, but it's only Ben Best going for the movement. The supports and Danny are almost scared to follow him in, so they never really find the opportunity to make it happen. And with that delay, indecisiveness causes accidents on the road, it causes accidents in Overwatch as well. Kevster gets the pick-offs, and the whole thing gets shut down.
Using the horizontal loop to reposition, sends the Dragon Strike across the map. Dragons find no one, but God, it's a pretty display. Dids using the display in his scope to find Epps' head. Kevster going to take out Map. Denia brings back his supporting fellow. That transcendence could be big for Orgless and Hungry. It starts to go south, and Dids is the one who's steering it that direction until Kevster has a little bit of course correction to bring it back on track.
A bit more conviction, a bit more scrappy. Ultimate coming out of Ben Best when most of his team were gone was a huge mistake. Very uncharacteristic. They looked very together last week, and again, not seeing it so much this week. However, he gets the kill onto Latex, though.
Unexpected, but it could be well fought for Young and Beautiful. Obviously, the spawn timers and the spawn travel distance slightly different on Volskaya Industries in terms of the proximity, so that might provide them a nice window. But Orgless and Hungry confidently clean up despite missing out on Latex.
I think they've got to stagger onto Danny here potentially. They're going to chase him down. Yes, they will. Throw himself off the edge. The environmental kill will be what comes through. Switching over to Dive now. This is basically what we saw at Giganti yesterday, where they ran a strategy for 3 minutes. It didn't work, and they changed. It didn't leave themselves enough time. And for Young and Beautiful, they may have equally left this one a little bit late. Admittedly, the only change they've made is Math going across to the Genji. But we've seen what this guy did to Hurricane last week. But we've also seen what the snipers are doing as Dids brings down Denia. There is no res on side.
No resurrection available for Orgless and Hungry. Math going low, using the Mercy. They have. Haha, joke's on you. We've got one, you haven't. Denia's going to be walking back from the spawn room. They have a brief window to make something happen here. Ben Best finding Kevster, shutting it down. He's got a safe position to hide from. Not so safe now that Dids knows where he is, and a Winston's going to follow him down after the tag. Gustav bringing back Math. Allow that Genji to come through, and he's already doing work. He's paying him back. with more blood as Danny's been cleaning out. So in overtime, switching it up seems to be the solution for Young and Beautiful. They're going to move on to the second stage of this map.
It just goes to show how important and crucial Mercy is to first point defense on Assault. The res that came through in the previous fight where Epps died first and got instantly res and had the trans online, that won it exclusively for Orgless and Hungry. In this second and final fight, Denia got picked off first. There was no res there, no one to keep the Widow alive or the focused healing. Let's not forget, not really the greatest healing coming out of Zenyatta sometimes. It's not going to keep your team alive for too long. That's why they lost. Now with 3 minutes 40 on the clock, Orgless and Hungry running a very interesting composition.
He's going to get the Dragon Blade. He's hacked, so there's nothing he can do about using that Dragon Blade. And in that window, Epps got a Transcendence and pulls it out clutch as he's about to die, bringing everyone back to life. It's also Exoraf burning his, but Maff's going to pull the blade, going to use the opportunity created for himself. Can't get the kill. He can't get the kill! How many swings of the blade do you need? Epps only needs one kick to the face to make it happen. Then you're going to bring Casper back up. Orgless and Hungry still have control. 3 minutes and counting for Young and Beautiful. Will this be a repeat of what we saw on point A where they pull it out in the last minute?
This is the kind of thing you expect out of Giganti, where the supports are so capable of keeping themselves alive as a duo, even against an ulting Genji, that you can afford to be a bit more, what's the word, aggressive with your tanks, with your DPS getting into the backline. We're seeing the same opportunity being afforded to Orgless and Hungry. It's a stand Epps though, and no Transcendence nearby. It's not going to be the greatest loss in the world.
Casper's being an absolute nuisance on this Sombra, rolling around behind the tanks as they breach in from the top window. He's going to translocate to get the EMP down onto multiple members. Going to try and capitalize on it. Orgless and Hungry not finding as many kills as they probably want from a play like that, as Ben Best, Maff, and Gustav are turning the tide of battle by bringing Exoraf back from the grave and sending a few more bodies in its place. Young and Beautiful, they don't want to wait for that final minute. They're looking to end it with a little bit more than just change to spare.
Matt just taking the approach of just hold W and mouse one. It's working absolute wonders for them because once he managed to get rid of the res, he managed to get rid of the tank at the very, very start, and almost with the touch from Kevster, not quite enough. But it turns out that was the big change they needed. No one needs a Genji. You just need a Brigitte to roll through the whole team.
2 minutes 7 on the clock for their next offensive attempt. Could be boosted a little bit more depending on how Orgless and Hungry do on their offensive run.
Curious to see what they choose to opt with here. Widow, naturally, always the name in the game on first point. Again, Mercy, always going to get picked up on first point. You don't take one without the other. But whether they choose to roll that double sniper that we saw come out of Young and Beautiful is a different story. They may choose just to opt to go for a much stronger arm-based composition. Go for the Brigitte, for example. What was that look?
I don't know. It's just a little bit of a slip of the tongue. Oh, don't worry, I've had plenty of them today.
A slip of the face from you there,
I've had
as well.
plenty of them today, Des, so don't worry about that.
It was beautiful. Okay, Epps, well, going to go straight across into that Zen. We know he's going to go on the Zen. He loves the Zen. Why wouldn't he go towards it? Young and Beautiful opting for the standard, though. Again, this is their standard go-to defense when they haven't really practiced the map out. They haven't got a set-up strategy as such. They go towards this dive with a double sniper. No surprises here at all.
Absolutely not. And it's going to be Orgless and Hungry running that offense. Same composition going into Young and Beautiful. Pretty much a mirror matchup. It is identical for them. So let's see how we play them and whether the defensive or offensive advantage really comes into play here.
I really saw it come through on the last round for Orgless and Hungry. Some really big pickups, just opening up the fights and preventing Young and Beautiful from getting their way in. It took Young and Beautiful to focus on the Mercy before they could make that final push really work out for them. But let's think again about the implications of what this game could have here, Tridd, because we were talking outside during the break and we were saying when you think about it, Young and Beautiful have beat Hurricane. Orgless and Hungry lost to Angry Titans. There's an echelon almost being formed here of teams off the back of week one. You don't want to write off week one because it's so exciting, but you know there were some very interesting results last week.
Yeah, and I don't think you can carry that through line of logic, so I'm pretty sure you'll get tripped up somewhere and you put it into a computer, it'll come out as false. It just doesn't work out like that. Young and Beautiful going to try and hold out against the Orgless and Hungry offense, and already seem to go at it with more conviction than Young and Beautiful were able to do on their offensive run. So they used the bubble on the high ground to scout, and now they have the information. The backline's going to follow up. Kevster looking for a sight line. Did's taking out Casper. That's going to stall the aggression from Orgless and Hungry. They have to pull it back a little bit, wind their neck in, and see if they can go at it again.
Good staging onto that high ground though. That's what you want from your tanks, is to take that ground, and then when you get your cooldowns back up, you dive onto a target with all that information you can gather from the high ground. But Young and Beautiful right now are just finding the odd target here and there. It's either Dids or it's Danny getting those kills. It's just delaying the onslaught coming through from Orgless and Hungry.
You know, I'm really confused about how Epps ended up in that predicament where he's been booped around by a diva, well isolated away from his team. Interesting to see, but obviously they were going to have to fall back, just delays it a little bit longer. Already burnt a minute of their time, and Math burning through the head of Kefster with that Storm Arrow, and again, with the Dragon Strike onto Denia, drops down, finds Latex. Is there any more on the table? Looking around, it's a bit of a shooting gallery, which is he going to take? It's Casper, and the Storm Arrow goes to the wind. He doesn't need it anymore. Orgless and Hungry back on the back foot.
That's the Math that we saw last week. The guy who drops down with a few arrows dispatches basically of the vast majority of your team. You're looking at Orgless and Hungry looking towards ultimates coming online. They've got the Infra Sight, which will of course favour them when they come for the peaks against Dids, but equally, his isn't too far away, and Exarath incredibly close to getting that Transcendence online. In fact, almost double the percentage charge of what Eps has got, so you can clearly see who's been doing work so far.
About to get that Transcendence up on the defense, so not many options left for Orgless and Hungry to fight through that. It's going to be about positioning and whether they can bring him down or force out an early Transcendence on their own terms. Dids up in the high ground, looking for someone. He has the Infra Sights. He sees the outline of an ape with a jetpack walking around somewhere, meandering on the point. Wants to pop out. Here comes the Transcendence. The Dragon Strike cuts through it. Self-destruct. The Transcendence can't heal that. And Gustav, unfortunate enough to be in the way. Math finding out Epps. He's still not got that Transcendence up. A very low Winston off to the side. Danny's going to be the one to finish it off. Math didn't get the opportunities. He was corner peeking that one. Kevster just going to go with the spray down. Doesn't even need to scope in for that one. Finds Ben best. Leo Dead's going to take out Danny and Kevster. Icing on the cake. Exarath's going to go down.
Didn't even need to use the Trans or the Primal Rage to win that fight out as well, which means they have those on side. Equally Young and Beautiful, they've got the Dragon Strike, they've got the Primal Rage too, so they can afford to stall or at least deny a very aggressive push here from Orgless and Hungry. Same story with this attack though, from what you saw in the last round when we saw the other side go on the attack. It was all about that opening pick onto the Mercy. Unfortunately for Gustav, he found himself caught between a Diva Bomb and, well, open air, and sadly, these explosions do travel through open air, and you saw it was the exact result. He went down, there was a res coming out of Denia immediately after. For Orgless and Hungry, it was a done fight from there.
Yeah, rather than taking a deep breath of air, he was experiencing the dragons flowing through him. There's a regression coming out. There's the Primal Rage being popped by Latex. Already Leo has jumped onto the point. Orb Destruction's there, so they're going to force out a self-destruct. Goes to the high ground. Epps being caught out this time. Got the Transcendence out beforehand, so it wasn't a total loss. A little bit of damage mitigation coming out from that. Kevster still eyeing it up. A remech, then a demech. It's Casper. He's responsible for that one. As Leo Dead will clear out the exposed Diva. Exarath with the clutch Transcendence to hopefully buy some more time for Young and Beautiful to repopulate the area and make sure they're not going to be overwhelmed. But Kevster sat on the back line uncontested, makes easy work. And with double the time bank, Orgless and Hungry complete Volskaya.
Dids may have managed to bring down Zenyatta of Epps there at the end, but as you said, it was after the Trans when they'd already survived all that initial damage and worn down the tanks and supports on the side of Young and Beautiful, which meant it was a very nice, easy clean through. Time banks, 2 minutes 7 for Young and Beautiful, 4 minutes 21 for Orgless and Hungry. Naturally, the lesser time bank always goes first. We'll see Young and Beautiful with their offensive round first.
Wonder if they'll bring any changes to their attack. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep with the same strategy. And then we might see them in a minute's time go, we need a Genji. Let's throw that into the mix.
Yeah, I think they've already tried this and it didn't work out for 3 minutes. There were just too many good picks coming out of Kevster on the Widow to really deny them the opportunity. But they're going to opt with it once again. I would actually quite like to see Math getting onto something like that. Genji again, admittedly, did find himself in some very, very difficult positions once he got himself up onto the high ground because he was faced against, not only was it the Widow that he was trying to kill, he was also staring down the barrel, or down the arms in this case, of a Zenyatta, and also had the Hanzo there as well. So I can understand why he's a bit wary of going towards it. Just need more conviction out of Young and Beautiful on this attack to force ground, take ground, and then look for the next pick.
10 seconds till they breach open the gates. Could be a final attempt on Volskaya for Young and Beautiful, assuming that Orgless and Hungry are able to come out with the full hold. If they manage that, then unfortunately it looks like Young and Beautiful don't have a lot of wiggle room here. They could lose the series. They're unable to get any percentage capped. Because it's 4 minutes 21, you'd assume that Orgless would at least be able to take point A from this.
Spied by that Widow to the very back, going to drop down and relocate. Do not want to get tagged out by the enemy Widow nice and quick, but Kevster more than happy to take Matt's head off. Speaking
of tags, Kevster comes up big, looking for the snipes that he loves to get. Repositioning around to the other side of the walkway. Trying to see if he can get an angle. Tags the Mercy, but unable to finish it off. Has a rough idea of where they are. Just going to throw out the Venom Mine, make sure no one's sneaking up behind him. Thinks he's got a read onto Dids, and Dids going to reposition with the rest of his team. See a little bit of crossfire, literally making an X in the sky there with Hanzo and Widow taking separate shots. Kev's is going to fall back to the back of the map. Buy some more time. Misses the shot on Denny and gets a tag. Finds Exo Wrap, but not enough to get the kill. There's a D-Mech onto Danny. Exposed Diva running around. That should be pretty easy for Leodeds to come in with the sweep up. Take the high ground again. No one's exposing themselves. They need to keep playing behind this terrain. Leodeds still trying to find one more. There is Math on the Genji. Switched up, 50% ult charge. Needs to get that ultimate up for a big move. Kevster again, taking out Did. They're losing more and more of the tools from their toolbox, unable to keep up with this push.
It's kind of funny because you're not going to be a hero every single fight, but Kevster in that first round, we watched him for a good 15-20 seconds. He got no kills during that time, but his team did the work. What matters most is that when they saw the res from Dids, or what forced the res from Dids, was that opening pickoff, which might just shut this whole attack down. Straight
through the floor with the Dragon Strike. Gustav being caught out by it again. It's the bane of his existence. Leoded's going with the D-Mech, unable to keep up in his mechanized form, as Danny dancing around, but he's got an Orb of Destruction on him. Self-destruction buys him time. Great bubble coming out from Latex. It's good that he had that to isolate the explosion. Grasp it inside that area and not let anyone else fall victim to it. But now the gauntlet's on for Young and Beautiful. They're going to have to run through a lot of obstacles to get any percentage capped on this point, because Orgless and Hungry aren't having any of it. 1 second left remaining. Anyone going to touch? It's only Dids, but he should go down quite easily. Here comes reinforcements. Best gets taken out. The blade from Math looking to save the dreams of Young and Beautiful in this series. And on this map, Kevster goes up high, still taking those shots. A lot of players are dancing around the area, but no one's committing for the kills. Casper with the Dragon Strike across the map finds Danny. Dids, only person on the point. Math's going to fall to a poison mine, and Kevster finally gets that kill. It is, unfortunately, the series going over to Orgless and Hungry, but they still have the map to play for, and of course, map 4 for their all-important map difference.
Real shame for them as well, but still, there's a series to finish off here. We saw Math at the very end going in for that blade, and all kudos over to Epps there as well. Held onto that Transcendence until the very last second. As soon as he heard that blade come out, pops it down, and that completely shut down the attack from Young and Beautiful. That was their win condition. They identified that nice and early. That's the kind of coordination you want from your captain, I suppose, in this case. He's the guy who put this team together.
Hand-picked the finest Swedish players he could find, put them onto a roster and see how it goes. And it's, like I said, week 1, a little bit shaky, but week 2, they've just picked up their first series win of Contenders Season 2. It's not bad progress for the team from Sweden. Still got a lot of opponents ahead of them. Got to close out this series. They can make it a 4-0. That really kind of sends the message that Orgless and Hungry, they're here to party.
Absolutely. For Young and Beautiful, they're going to have to pick themselves up. You can't win everything, guys. Sorry. Can't have to beat British Hurricane. You feel good about that. You will come across some trouble and strife along the way. Only team, of course, with a perfect record last season was Eagle Gaming, who were 5-0. In British Hurricane and Giganti lost some of their main season games. We've
still got a few contenders in week 2 as things stand at present, especially in Group B. I believe we've got 2 undefeated teams so far in the forms of CIS Hope and Giganti, I believe, so far.
Looking strong, and of course we'll see how many more teams from Group A join them after today's games have concluded. Nothing too surprising here. Same comps once again. It's the tried and tested. It's the go-to standard for every team on the first point defense.
Still taking control of that initial part of point A very early. Orgless and Hungry like to take the initiative in comparison to Young and Beautiful. The way they're trying to get bodies on the point, starting that progress. They only need 33% because of the way the scoreline is tied so far. So not a full hold needed. One good team fight is all it takes from Orgless and Hungry.
Like I say, just looking for that one opening pick. Get the Mercy and everything goes your way. They might find good stuff there, actually, Epps. Not quite finding him, but Exarath will do. Bringing down Dids as well is going to be big for them. Orgless and Hungry, they're looking to take this away right now, Tridd.
No one really left here from Young and Beautiful to hold on to the point. Orgless and Hungry going to send it home. A draw is not good enough for them. They want the win. While Sky Industries brings Orgless and Hungry to a 3-0 scoreline.
No one expects the flanking Zenyatta of Epps. What can you say? Getting behind them, bringing down Dids in the weirdest way. It's really bizarre that a Zen can get behind a Widow and bring the Widow down, and the Widow has no idea that it's happening. But maybe it's the broken spirits. Maybe it was a nice... It was a very nice, just slow and gentle end to that. But we knew, I think, with 4 minutes on the clock, that it was likely going to go to Orgless and Hungry.
When you think about it, scope is kind of a form of tunnel vision, so you will fall into that trap, unfortunately, if you are playing a sniper rifle. You're playing a sniper rifle? You're playing a sniper, unfortunately.
Playing with a sniper rifle.
Playing with a sniper rifle, okay. Well, we'll talk more about the logistics of that, but we're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the final map of Orgless and Hungry versus Young and Beautiful. What up, my doodags? We're back with Overwatch Contenders Europe, and we're going to be jumping into the final map of this series.
That was a very nice, abrupt intro. I liked it. You are absolutely right. Now, else was abrupt. This series and Young and Beautiful's hopes of winning it. They have now lost the series, going across 3-0 to Orgless and Hungary, who are looking a lot better than they did last week. Now, you get to go into the fourth map. Rialto knows in this pool. We've seen Rialto a hell of a lot the last few days. It seems players really, really like sticking to it.
Can I just get a Gibraltar or a Route 66 maybe? Because sometimes too much of a good thing
it's
can
still too much of a good thing.
Everything. I'm going to really, it's starting to leave a bitter taste in my mouth. I love Rialto, but let's mix it up. If you have too much, it just becomes a little bit overwhelming. But the players obviously pick Rialto for a reason.
Your primary form of communication is memes, so there needs to be something to do with Rialto, my friend. At least to celebrate the occasion of seeing it so often. Communicate it out there to the greater world. Oh, it's just simple. Like, the way you would do that is you'd get a map of the world and you just like color everything like Rialto. Here's where all the maps are based. Pick one. Rialto, 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 Rialto. Yeah, unfortunate. But creative, because we do get to see a lot of wonderful things on this map. We've seen a large variety of comps so far. We've seen double sniper, we've seen Pharos, we've seen Widow Tracer, we've seen quad tank, we've seen triple DPS. You know, Doomfist. We have seen Doomfist as well. Admittedly, that was from Danny, who is a big Doomfist player. So that's kind of cheating, but I'll give it to you. And I mean, Reddit was talking about that they won't see Doomfist in competitive play, and Danny's just like, ha! Good one, my friends, and just jumps in there straight away. No problem. Even RCK yesterday as well. Lots of people are picking up the Doomfist. They won the map on the Doomfist as well. Lots of people are picking up the Doomfist. I was a hater, and now I'm a believer in the power. To watch him is fantastic. To play against him is mildly infuriating at best. However, no Doomfist, so no mild infuriations. Maybe mild disappointment for Young and Beautiful the way they're feeling, but there are 4 maps to a series, and we spoke yesterday about how influential map wins can be, especially when you get towards weeks 4 and 5. Both teams opted to roll out here with the Orisa. We see many, many ball kills, at least pulling people into the river here just to try and make it some nice, quick and easy environmental kills. Pulled that one off a little bit too quickly, a little bit too late, sorry. Wasn't able to get it over the water where you get that environmental kill. Eps off to the side already, using the fact that they know they're on that high ground position, playing close to it. And already, look at Young and Beautiful. They're moving from high ground to high ground. That's something we haven't seen before in Rialto. It's good that they kind of conceded it very quickly. Exoraf bringing down Kevs. They're not always the slayer of Widowmaker, shall we say, but here comes the tire out of mouth. Got that one nice and quick. Let's see where he goes on the road trip. Around the street, straight into Latex, so they're missing that Orisa. Is it enough to put the pause button on Orgless and Hungry? I think it is for the time being. They need that main tank, they need that shield, otherwise you've got a lot of vulnerable backline targets. Very hard to stick on the point, and like you say, we haven't yet seen this second point defense, so again, we said it quite a bit yesterday, we're going to see teams consistently adapting and learning how to deal with this map, what the best strats are for each point. It feels so far that Young and Beautiful have got a pretty good way to stick at it, and I spoke to Promise last week, and he said the tried and tested standard is to hold this corner and then fall back to here. We believe, that's me and Shu, or his coach, Promise and Shu, they said we think there's a better way of playing it. Maybe this is that better way they were speaking about. Well, they forced out a change from Orgless and Hungry. They moved to a more dive-orientated comp. They picked up Latex on the Winston. They've got Casper on the Genji. Kevster, he doesn't need to change. He's already getting the kills on the Ben Best. Gustav going to force out the Resurrection, but Casper, he's going to cut through something that not even Mercy can resurrect. His map will fall to that blade. And Danny going to take him out for his aggression. Payload's still in motion, so despite having the high ground, and if they can't get those picks, they're unable to stagnate the push. So the payload's going to keep moving because they're not on the ground to contest it until now. Ben Best drops down 80% in ticking, very close to that supercharger. It's really bizarre for Kevster, who've already spent about 15 seconds sightseeing. Yes, it's a beautiful map, my friend, but there are people to shoot. Speaking of shooting, Dids now up on the high ground trying to pick off some targets just to deter Orgless and Hungry once again. I'm curious, are we going to see yet another first point hold? It's always on the cards on Rialto. Dez and Casper is going to cut through Dids to try and make sure that doesn't happen. Resurrection coming out, bringing Dids back up, so Casper's work has been undone. Danny's sitting on the self-destruct. Exoraf has got himself the Transcendence, and Ben Best waiting for the right time to put that supercharger down. Impressive hold so far. Leo Dead's got the self-destruct online as well. Latex, you can use that Pummel Rage to really create space for the rest of your team. Maybe just try and get some of those shields out of the way and just charge your way through the team. But like you say, Ben Best, with that supercharger online, gives a lot of damage to the team. And I'm most worried about Exoraf when that's online. Yeah, he seems to be like one of the people who could really capitalize off this damage boost. He's been pretty on point with his orbs of destruction so far. Self-destruct goes behind. No one picks up a kill as of yet because they just repositioned around the shield. Transcender's been burned by Exoraf.
They're expecting a huge commit from Orgless and Hungry. I'm not seeing it yet. Orgless and Hungry, I think they got that a win out of getting Exo Wrath that early. Now, Casper very close to getting his Dragon Blade, and we've just seen that important ultimate gone. Danny with the double kill on the Casper and Latex. That's the saving grace for Young and Beautiful, but Kevster, he's trying to make sure that she burns in the building like the rest of the victims. Going straight up and over, he's doing a little bit of a leaping hurdle over this bridge just to make sure he finds the best angle through these shields being deployed by Latex. Gonna gun him down, doesn't need the sniper scope. In fact, they missed out on that kill. He's able to retreat behind cover again. Rally coming out from Brigitte. This could be the final fight in a stall. Casper going in with the Dragon Blade, trying to cut through Latex. Ignores that target. He wants the back line, and Did says nay. You cannot have any of this. And Danny follows up Dids again. Des, it's a Rialto classic. It looks like it's going to be the first point hold.
8 seconds on the clock, and really they're going to throw at least the Diva at the point here, potentially to contest. I don't think they've even got enough time here. Tridd, Danny's going to get Eps as well. That's going to be a full-point hold.
Rialto never ceases to amaze me.
Amaze, impress, entertain. Probably the biggest word of the three there you want to go towards is that final one, because we see so many different strats coming out. The Orisa on that high ground, the second fallback point, great move coming out of Young and Beautiful, and then the final hold, a bit scrappy. And the biggest problem I think there, to be honest with you, was more the Genji going in all the time, because Exo Wrath, we spoke about this guy already. You can't stop him when he's got that armor from the Brigitte as well. He's even harder to bring down.
Yeah, I really like what Young and Beautiful brought out there, being able to transition from high ground to high ground, unseen so far in Contenders. So absolutely fantastic for them to do that, and it appeared to have worked. I agree with you, Des, slightly scrappy when it got to that first point, but when isn't that choke point incredibly scrappy from all the teams we've seen them play the map so far?
Eagle versus Giganti was the big one. Both teams really struggling around that first point cap, because it's just so easy to hold the archway, stick a shield in there. It can be a Ryan, it can be an Orisa. It doesn't matter as long as there is a shield. You have so much safety here on the background because there's no easy flank. You have to come over the water, if nothing else, and you can see them coming down the little side alleyway. So your supports, your snipers, all very well protected. If anyone comes in to contest your tanks, it's just 3 dings away.
Okay, Orgless and Hungry looking to get down and dirty with the GOAT's composition, so playing it low to the ground and wanting to win that war of attrition. Young and Beautiful might be running victim into this. I mean, they've got the Widowmaker and the Hanzo to have that verticality and pick off the different angles, but they're still going to have to try and contend with the Orisa and the Roadhog.
This could be cheeky. We've seen some teams went on the attack, come all the way around the side here and then flank underneath the high ground.
Shh, be very quiet. They're crouch walking. You know, Ben Best. Sorry, Legday, you're being too loud. You're supposed to crouch. Everyone crouch walks across, being very silent, and you decide you're just going to
It's like it's like an old cartoon where you're like, where someone's crouching on there, you have some real big guy like stomp behind them, and it's like, what are you doing?
Let's see if their stealth pays off. There is a very close Did. Oh, the trap was sprung, and unfortunately not able to do anything. Young and Beautiful, complete disarray. It's chaos already for Orgless and Hungry. And Young and Beautiful gonna have to try again.
Sorry to the headphone users, but that was probably one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen. A Widow, that is true tunnel vision trick.
So the worst problem was that Caspian was stood in perfect POV, and it looked like he's just walked past him entirely.
Either that or he accepted his fate and was like, you know what, I can see you're all here. I'm just gonna walk through and be like,
let me just make 100% sure that there's no one else around here. Back into the game though, Dids I think has learned his lesson.
I'm gonna speak to him later and ask him. That's hilarious.
Ask about that. He's gone to the Hanzo. Map is gonna mix it up with the Farah, and they've dropped the Orisa altogether. Ben Best picking up the Reinhardt responsibilities. The over-aggression from Orgless and Hungry, it's been punished. That's exactly what happened against British Hurricane. Young and Beautiful really good at punishing over-aggression in the earlier stages of their series last week.
Absolutely, and so far, with that 3-3, look at the ultimates coming online now. The Coalescence, and they got the Earthshadow not too far away. On the other side, though, Exo Wrath has only got that trans. That can be all they need to get that first point push coming through.
Oh, absolutely, Des. The Coalescence available for Eps. Might just spray down. Latex got himself an Earth Shatter as well. Kevster taking Math out of the sky. 1% shy of that barrage as well, as the Dragon Threat's going to cut through the rest of Orgless and Hungry. No one falling victim for it, and the trance is active, experience, tranquility, as Young and Beautiful having a little bit more contestation on this point, as the high ground not being up to take by Orgless and Hungry. Young and Beautiful would do so. There's the barrage raining down. Math finding Latex. Legday drives by. There's a Lucio booping about. He should fall down for the splash damage if he wants to focus him instead. Danny going to be the one to get the kill, and Gustav brings Ben Best back up to contest this even further. And look at that, Epps is going to fade away, and now the payload's back in motion with 2 minutes on the clock.
Corellis is still online, but they've also got themselves hold of 2 big tank ults, and the sound barrier isn't too far away. So Orgless and Hungry have the ability to stall here. We have seen teams capitalize on having enough ults online to do full rotations for 2 or 3 minutes, and win points out because of that. But Young and Beautiful are so close. They are mere meters away from ending the series 3-1.
They got to fight for 1 minute 40. They've thrown out the Graviton Surge, and Ben Best goes in, a charge comes out. Perfect timing for Legday to get that self-destruct in there and get a kill on the main tank. Sound barrier to sustain the rest of Orgless and Hungry as they push back on this aggression from Young and Beautiful, and they're getting the kills to do just that. So they've stemmed the flow. 1 minute 20 on the clock for them.
But they burnt a lot for it though. 4 ultimates down there to make that defense work, and Young and Beautiful have got everything coming online to make this one work in their favor, but they've only got 2 attacks left. That's if they're quick about this first one.
Ult usage is going to be paramount for Young and Beautiful, and Orgless and Hungry, they're doing it again. Do they know where they are? They're being very quiet.
You've got to hit that suit of armor.
Yeah, you got to hit. They know where they are. They saw a giant Legday emerge, but Gustav still might fall prey. Here comes the Dragon Strike straight through them. Young and Beautiful again, punishing the aggression from Orgless and Hungry, and that might have been their downfall. They've won the series, but they are not going to win Rialto, surely, because they're going to throw even more stall out. 40 seconds, but it should be enough time for Young and Beautiful to run this one in. Lucio speed boost from Denia might do it. Nice block, then a counter shatter. No one's close enough. There we go. Consolation prize. Young and Beautiful get their map. So it's a 3-1 scoreline to close out the series.
With that second sneaky play, it was a bit of a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. They were not willing to get caught out by that again, but Reinhardt's wearing a big suit of armor. You can hear him chinking his way up the stairs, and there's no real way of being super sneaky. It would have been great if they pulled it off.
Oh, absolutely. They nearly got Gustav as well. That was the thing. Like, he was just hiding in there.
But didn't quite work out. But entertaining map once again. Rialto never fails to deliver. As much as we're seeing it a lot, you do get some very interesting fights.
Oh, no, if you freshen up Rialto, I have no problem seeing it. If you just keep running the same strats, it's like, come on, give us something different so we can see some more plays.
I like these full holds. I want to see more of the full holds. They're entertaining as all hell.
Well, we know what we think about Rialto and how the full holds are going. We're going to throw it over to our analysts to break down the series, and we might hear a little bit about what they think as well.